Today we have with us on this podcast Professor Sandeep Shastri. He is a noted education administrator of the country, but he wears a lot of other hats also. He has been vice chancellor to many universities. Right now, he chairs a very important education group in India. And apart from his educational endeavors in educational administration, academic administration, he is a very renowned professor of political science. He is also a very important authority on electoral studies in India and abroad, and very much appreciated cephalogist who looks after electoral analysis, and a very important TV personality also, because he's been invited as a very important commentator on electoral analysis of various kind of elections going on in the country. These are some of his hats which he wears, but apart from that, Professor Shastri has been also a mentor to thousands of individuals who are doing very good in their professional and personal lives because of the academic training they have got under him, and the personal example of his life as a lifelong learner, plus a lifelong performer, plus able and very competent person in academic matters as well as in administrative matters. So we are very happy to have you with us today, sir, on this podcast. Today, since we are sitting in the Global Skills Park, and the Global Skills Park is mainly concentrated through the Government of India's approach in skilling India and in upgrading the skills. Education as a very important aspect of overall development of the youth and the development of the nation as such. Within that, the new education policy also talks a lot about the practical aspects of the education and how it's relevant to the life in general and to the development of the nation and the development of the individuals in the nation through the youth concentrated programs on global skills, on performing skills and performable education as such, we can say. Sir, your decades of experience in education and education administration, heading many institutions, what do you think the skill education in India stands at present? What kind of vision you have through this skill focused education in India? Do you think it is taking up the shape which the Government of India actually wants it to do? And do you think the new education policy has helped to upscale the skilling up endeavor? And do you think that the industry and the life in general in context of employability of our youth, this has created a favorable environment? And lastly, because I'm throwing a lot of things, do you think that the dovetailing of other government schemes, for example Startup India, is able to take up and get connected with the Skill India? This is and also the education policy. So how do you rate all these things together, sir?
Vineet Kapoor, sir, you have raised a range of very critical issues that face the country today. I think NEP 2020 came at a time when we were on the threshold of change. A focus on skilling, a focus on gaining the advantage of the demographic dividend, the fact that we have a young population, a significant chunk of our population in the 14 to 25 age group, which is an age group where they are still in the process of higher education. And I think this factor has led to, as you rightly put it, dovetailing of several initiatives that are being taken. NEP 2020 came along with the focus on Skill India, came along with the focus on a of initiatives of Make in India, of Atmanirbhar Bharat. All these things have come together, and I think it's important that all these schemes and policies need to talk to each other if we are able to achieve success. And I'm happy looking at the higher education scene that this is actually happening. There is this dialogue that is taking place. Today in universities, I'm noticing that increasingly a 3 year degree or a 4 year professional degree or a 5 year professional degree that students are doing is being closely associated with what the professional world requires. In engineering programs, you are bringing the industry into the colleges. Industries are establishing laboratories in colleges. And people from the industry are coming to those laboratories and training the students. The industry people are coming and getting trained in those laboratories from the faculty. So, this symbiotic relationship between academia and industry has started in several places. Of course, we need to do a lot more, but that understanding of the need that our theoretical knowledge alone is not important, we need to give a practical shape to it. Now, sir, given the fact that by 2047, 25% of the world workforce will be from India. The question then is, in the next 22 years, are we preparing for that workforce to be globally relevant? So, be it engineering, be it today in medical sciences, sir, the whole use of robotics and the like for various operations and for more precision based treatment. Now, I know in my university, the medical college that is there, they have invested hugely in being able to help the students acquire the skills which new technology is making available to them. So, yes, there is that movement forward happening. I must make another point, sir. The skilling is not only at the upper end, skilling is also today understood as a need for a lot of skill based courses which could be post school. Once students complete 12th standard, we are today starting degree courses which are directly oriented towards skill development. Skill oriented degree courses are also starting, where the practical knowledge which the student requires to be able to do that course effectively is also coming in. I think, sir, what is also needed is at the societal level an attitude change, where the belief that only when you become an engineer or a doctor you have succeeded in life, the belief that there are now new avenues that are opening up, there are new skill sets which are becoming important. Now, I think we also need to have a movement in society to encourage other stakeholders like parents, like employers, that there is this new world of skills coming up and we need people in these areas. Now, today there are studies which show us that 20 years from now, there are certain types of skills which will become very critical for the workplace. Now, many universities are now starting off on those courses, knowing that those who complete those courses in the next 5, 6 years will become critical in the job market. So, identifying such courses, providing those skills to the learners, I think is something which we have started off on. But as you rightly said, there is a long journey to go, and we need to involve all stakeholders in this process.
Yes, sir. That's very important. That like at the societal level, the parents and the general attitude towards skill has to be upgraded. There's a lot of youth population living in among the weaker section, economically weaker section, otherwise socially weaker section, who need to be drawn towards this, and there needs to be a movement to attract them on the skills front. I think government is doing a lot, but definitely there has to be a socially cautious orientation to build it up. So, sir, I think there are many universities which are now able to take up, like you gave a very good example, that the industry themselves are establishing labs and doing the needful in that area. So that elite bias of having a 4 years degree or a proper graduation and post graduation might get reduced in the times to come. But I think the government also needs to 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 be flexible with the criterias when they advertise jobs, and similarly industry does it, but the whole environment of degree orientation as such needs to be diluted a bit.
Make 2 points on what you said. Both are, I mean, both flow from the very, very critical points you have raised. So 5 years back, when the impact of the Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan was seen in the Uच्च Shiksha Abhiyan movement, now we are seeing the success of the Uच्च Shiksha Abhiyan. A more number of students registering up to their 10th and 12th. Now, when Uच्च Shiksha Abhiyan succeeds, the pressure then comes on higher education, because you have now many more students completing their 10th and 12th, and having completed their 10th and 12th, they have aspirations for higher education. So it's in that context I talked about how higher education needs to diversify to be able to cater to the increasing numbers which are today entering into the higher education space. You are very right in saying we need to redefine our job requirements for various courses. I am already seeing in engineering related courses, students after their 4 year degree, 9 out of 10 of them are preparing and preferring to go for jobs. Those who come for a master's degree in engineering are invariably doing that if they are more or less 100% sure that they want to go into teaching and research. Those who are not keen on teaching and research are straight going into getting jobs. They work for a few years and then come back and specialize in a niche master area depending on the work profile that they have developed. This is an interesting change that is going on. So there was a time where people used to say that students do their post graduation in order to postpone their unemployment. That situation is changing. Today, young boys after their degree are going out, young boys and girls are going out and working, and then coming back and upskilling themselves based upon the interest that they have developed at the workplace. But you are also right in saying the way we approach jobs, the way we advertise jobs need to change. We need to give up this generic qualification requirement and coming into more specific requirements where these skills are tested. So today, when I see companies coming to recruit students, they are not only interested in the CGPA that the student gets. If I offer them a student with a very high CGPA, but the student does not have other accompanying certifications and skills that he or she has developed. Whereas on the other hand, if I give a student with a little lesser CGPA, but she has done several projects as part of her 4 year degree, she has interned with 2 companies as part of her degree, she has done additional courses as part of her degree, the preference for such a student is much more than one who simply did well in the examinations which the university came up with. So this change is also today noticed in what are the expectations of the industry from the education institutions.
That's a very interesting and very encouraging development, and I hope with the Skill India movement and all the governmental thrust in different areas of uh, employment generation and like particularly not only job orientation but also skill based entrepreneurship development is also making a big inroads
Right, sir, you
into
raised an important
yeah.
point. Today, every university has an innovation council,
Yeah.
and they are linked up with the government innovation experiment, where students are being encouraged from their first year itself to join in innovation related projects, and maybe at the end of their 4 years not looking out for a job, but starting off something, a startup on their own.
Yeah.
Now, we have realized that if they start the work on the startup in the third year, fourth year, it's too late. They need to do it much earlier so that by the time they come to the fourth year, they actually have done some groundwork on that beforehand. But, sir, I would like to raise one point with you because I think you are one of the few people who can give the answer to that. So, you have been a distinguished police officer for several years now, but you are one of those police officers who also has very strong academic credentials. Uh, uh, your academic focus is also equally deep as compared to your uh, focus on policing and the like. So, how do you combine these two interests of yours?
Actually, I feel that the profession, any profession, needs a very important knowledge base, and that knowledge base, once you have uh, like risen up to a particular leadership level or oversight level position in a profession, you get to see things from the top or from a bird's eye view point of view. So you can think, you can see the patterns, you can see different aspects of the profession, and see the linkages, the crucial linkages which are weak and which are strong. Like in my case, for example, I could see that training might be a weak linkage to professional performance, or an evidence based policing might be a weak link to the policy or practice, because you might be very ad hoc in certain reactions, whereas you could be well informed about certain patterns of practice, which can be then assessed and the resources could be properly utilized. So, in any profession, there is a need of knowledge base. There are certain traditionally upheld professions which think, in which there is a popular thinking that like a knowledge base might not be needed, but actually it's not the case. As we advance in the scientific thinking and in the context of professionalism and also efficiency orientation, best optimum utilization of the resources, be it intellectual resources, human resources, or material resources, and outcome orientation, then you have to invest in your knowledge base, and there the academic credentials or academic output becomes very important. Academic training becomes very important, because once you get trained into the academic context of understanding the theoretical framework of certain things and applying those theoretical frameworks to the profession to which you are aligned, then you see a very, very clear linkage. You can also, like what you say, policy analysis. So you can see the policy from the perspective of the practice, and then see the gaps where they exist, and you know how to bridge those gaps. So I have always been very happy that we could do this, and we could do it very effectively by combining both the things, and I see a lot of scope ahead also in these matters.
I think You have been a pioneer in this field, sir. And a lot of us in academics are amazed at the way in which you combine your academic rigor with your professional experience. And we just hope and wish and pray that many more get inspired by you and take to the path that you have chosen. And I think the insights that you provide to the theory in many areas that you work, based upon your field experience, is something that enriches the theory and the understanding of that theory. And my sincere compliments to you on
Thank you, sir.
this endeavor that you have taken forward.
Thank you, sir. Thank
Thank
you.
you so much, sir.
Thank